Hello everybody, this is Plok for the Hard Games thread. A little about this game: it was released in 1993, it was developed by Software Creations and published by Trade West. Trade West is probably best known for the Battletoads games, the Double Dragon games, and Battletoads vs. Double Dragon. If you hit select on the main menu, you get a little options menu, which really only consists of a difficulty setting thing. And obviously, since this is the Hard Games thread, we're going to go with the more difficult of the two, which is sadly just normal. No hard mode here or anything, just normal. So now we're treated to this little cutscene that sets up the plot of the game, nonsensical though it is, but oh my god, this music. Yeah, this game's soundtrack was composed by the Fallen brothers, Tim and Jeff Fallen, two very, very talented composers who are probably best known for better or for worse, Silver Surfer on the NES and other games here and there like Solstice and I think Echo on the Dreamcast. And as far as I can tell, the music in this game actually pushes the Super Nintendo's capacity almost to its limit using a lot of the sound channels that are available, but enough about the music. I'm going to talk about why this game belongs in the Hard Games thread. Because you might be looking at it and you might think, well, it looks very bright and colorful, kind of like baby's first game. And also, you know, the Super Nintendo's not really a console known for having a lot of very difficult games. And granted, this game does start off very easy, very simple, but the difficulty's definitely there. A lot of the levels later in the game tend to be very long, and despite the fact that you play carefully, you end up dying a couple times here and there. And the bosses, for the most part, the bosses are very difficult. They range from just being hard by design, to being very random, to pretty much throwing Toho-esque streams of bullets at you for you to dodge. It can be very tough, but I'm going to do my best. Anyway, if you didn't pay attention, we're listening to me rambling about the game's difficulty. Plok's flag has been stolen, and he's going to this island to go get it back. So this is Plok, our brightly hued hero, who throws his limbs to attack. And a neat little touch, if you actually throw both of his feet and you try to move, his torso will actually jump along the ground, which is a pretty nice touch, I think. Like I said, the game starts off very easy, kind of just easing you into the mechanics of the game. You can shoot those guys, you cannot kill the logs under normal circumstances, and you collect these seashells to eventually give you an extra life. I'm not exactly sure how many you need for an extra life, but you'll get them eventually. But we're actually not done with the first level, because if you go to the left, there's this tree with a green glowing fruit on it, and if you shoot it 3 times, you get taken to a warp stage. And these warp stages throughout the game, you pretty much control Plok in a large vehicle, and your goal is to make it to the end before time runs out, or before you die. You can't lose any lives in here, and it'll just kind of spit you back out on the level. So really, and plus, I mean, I'm not going to be taking the warps anyway, but I'm showing it off just to do it. This first one's pretty easy. You can pretty much take your time and still have a good amount of time to finish it. So if you're a filthy cheater that likes to skip like 3 or 4 levels at a time, you can do that. But no, I'm not that kind of person, so let's move on to level 2. Level 2 is more of the same. It kind of eases you in a little more. It introduces you to a couple of the power-ups throughout the game. This is the buzzsaw that I hit. When you jump into it and hit a direction, you'll pretty much just shoot off towards that direction until you turn back to normal. And what I just demonstrated there was that not all fruits lead to a warp zone. Some do nothing like that one, others actually lead to a bonus stage where you can pick up more seashells. The reason I went all the way back is because sometimes you'll find these presents lying around which contain other power-ups. I said you can't kill the logs under normal circumstances, but you can with these power-ups that you find in the gifts. This one is some kind of martial artist or something. He's wearing a helmet and gloves. I can't really tell what it's supposed to be, but he shoots slower than normal, so it's not that good, except for the fact that it can kill the logs. Get it if you want, or just use the buzzsaw and keep going. You'll be fine either way. So anyway, on to level 3. Alright, this level we see a new enemy. If GameFAQs is to be believed, this is a rocky fella. kind of a play on the Rockefeller family. And they take 3 hits to kill and shoot off nuts or acorns or something along those lines at you. They feel like they're a little random when they first take their first shot when they come up off the ground, but other than that, they're very easy to dodge. They do pretty decent damage to you, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And they also drop jewels, which give you temporary invulnerability, which is very nice. Anyway, we've come to another bonus stage, and this one's actually kind of tough. I don't know if I just didn't know the layout well enough or what, but... And like I think I mentioned, there's no real penalty for messing up, you just kind of get spit back into the level. So I'm going to take this opportunity now to talk about another reason why this game is difficult. Continues. A lot of games back in the day gave you pretty much unlimited continues, or were very generous with where they respawned you after you die. This game, you start with 0 continues. Now, you can earn continues throughout the game. You see up in the corner the letters that spell out Plok. Once you finish his name, you get a continue. And you get these in a number of different ways. Sometimes you find them scattered about in a level. Other times, you get them the way I'm about to get one, which is to beat a level without dying. Ooh, and that's a horrible choice of words, Plok. I wouldn't say that if I were you. But yeah, so this first area is pretty good for racking up a couple continues. I think it's possible to get 2, provided you don't die to any of the levels or the boss. The levels are one thing, the boss is a whole other animal. Because they really don't mess around with the bosses, like I said. So anyway, this level starts to get a little more tricky. Some of the logs now have different speeds, and that's a kind of a nasty little trick there, where the one in back was actually faster than the one right in front of it, which can kind of screw up your jumping if you're not careful, or if you're not expecting it. But whatever. And I've just got to continue from beating that level, which is always very nice. Here we see a new enemy type. The flower is named Bud, and I believe that the petals, once again, if GameFAQs is to be believed, the petals are actually called Bud Light, which is a clever little pun, joke, kind of, if you will. And this level also has a warp, and I'll be showing that off, but it's not too tough. You'll have to watch out for the bridges that collapse under your feet, and yeah, you want to jump over that one because you'll fall in the water if you just try to run across it, because it's too thin. The exit's right there to the right, but the warp is to the left, so obviously I'm just going to go show off the warp first. Kind of more of the same, just make sure not to fall down, kill the rocky fellas and dodge the petals, and just shoot the fruit, like always. Now this one sees you riding in a little, kind of like a jetpack kind of thing. You hold, I think, the B button to go, and dodge logs along the way. Okay, first one, good. And it's a little tough to control, but I think they give you plenty of time. Oh, no, that's stupid. A log after all the other ones. But whatever. I think I'll be pretty good on time, and I got a bonus block, which I don't think matters because I'll just get spit back into the level, or we'll reset. Oh, now that's even worse. I waited for one to go, and then there was another one behind the one behind all the other ones. But anyway, we're back in the level, and just right at the end, because we were pretty much there anyway. Alright, moving on. Now you might see those things down there and think they look kind of scary. That is the boss. The two of them at the same time. And you should be scared. Here's where the game starts to get a little tricky with things. If you don't jump when I did, you will get hit by those spikes and take a hit that you don't really want to take. This part can be kind of tricky because you can actually pick up the seashells by punching them. So if you're trying to hit one of the enemies, you might end up punching a seashell instead and take a hit that you obviously don't want to take. Here you have to jump almost immediately, because the game's mean. And I think that one actually loops you back around to the beginning. Something along those lines. It loops you somewhere you don't want to go. Here you pretty much just have to wait. You can shoot the seashells if you want, or shoot off all your limbs and wait for them to chase you back up. When it gets up to the top, make sure to immediately use your high jump, which is the A button, to get up there. Because if you don't, you're going back down to where you started. And it's not a horrible place, it just takes time to get back. Alright, we're on the last regular level of this island, and then it's on to the boss. And oh boy, any level called Blind Leap is probably not going to be fun. And this level once again just piles on more of the nasty little tricks with the logs that come down, but on each of these little slopes they come at a different time. See, that one came almost at the beginning, where the one before it came almost at the end. Ah, nasty little trick indeed. Now I think there's a warp up there, but I haven't found anything and don't really care to look for it, so let's just move on. If you really care to get the seashells, you can use your high jump to get back down there to get them, but I'm not going to bother. Well, maybe once. Anyway, this is just pretty much like the beginning of the level, except you're going up. You need to watch for a couple enemies here and there, and a couple logs, of course. But other than that, nothing too bad. Oh, another thing about the fruits, even if they don't lead to a warp zone or anything, if you shoot them twice and jump into them, they will replenish some health, which is very handy in some later levels. And the blind jump ended up not being that bad. At least they were nice enough to mark where you had to jump with seashells. Alright, on to the bosses. Or the one boss, which is two bosses. The Bobbins brothers. They're very hard. But at least the boss theme of this game is really good. I really like it. I love this little laugh that happens right at the beginning of the level, too. Dang, that just sounds cool. Anyway, the best strategy I found for these guys is to shoot at them, but keep moving, and hopefully they won't jump into you. I know it sounds kind of janky, but that's as good as I got. These guys are pretty difficult, and I think they each take about 9 hits, which means they can ruin your day. When I first picked up this game, I did not get past these guys for a while. I actually got really lucky that I didn't die to them when I recorded this, as evidenced by me getting a Plok continue right there. So now I'm at 2 continues with 5 lives. I'm feeling pretty good, but this game gets tough. It hasn't even barely started. But it seems like it might be finishing because Plok has his flag back. He got what he was after, and now it's time to go home. But upon arriving to his home planet, all of the other flags around his, or not his planet, his island, all of the other flags around his island have been replaced by flags that the fleas have put up. So I guess we're going to have to deal with them on the next episode. Thank you for watching.